This is Jabi Primary School in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory of Nigeria in West Africa. Today is the elections that will bring in the new president, the new Senate, and the House of Representatives. The City Talk team arrived promptly at 8 a.m. when the INEC, which is the body responsible for the elections in Nigeria, said that the votings would start. So here we are, and there is already a queue. Let's go in and find out more. We have been informed that this is the point, the initial point, where the voters get numbers marked on their hands and then they are allowed to go in for the accreditation. Quite early in the process, someone already tries to jump the queue but is quickly put in his place.
No markup. Don't forget
the official responsible for marking people's hands is warned by other voters not to try to smuggle in the person ahead of the queue. The Independent National Election Commission, INEC, ahead of the election day, pasted all the registered voters on the walls of polling stations. This way, people could identify themselves before actually going in for accreditation. Technically speaking, if you're not on this wall, then you are at the wrong polling station. Unfortunately for many, the print is so tiny, including the images, that a lot of people were unable to read them, and as such could not identify whether they were on the wall or not. The confirmed voters who were able to identify themselves on the walls, as well as some of those who were unable to do so because of the fine print, decided to go in for accreditation. As the City Talk team walks in further towards where the accreditation is being done, a lot of people are expressing concern and hoping that there will be a peaceful election today. Almost at the start, the chaos sets in. There is no clear indication to registered voters where they are meant to queue. As the morning sun rises, so do the tempers. Security personnel attempt to help to organize orderly queues, but the chaos continues. In addition to the chaotic scene, the process is slow, tedious, and laborious. Finally, the voters were able to create some queues. However, an election agent decided that they were too close to the polling booths and asked them to move further back. This, as you can imagine, in addition to every other thing, angered the voters. It's now about 8:30 in the morning, 30 minutes gone, nothing really achieved. The waiting continues, the sun is rising, the heat is intensifying, and the people are getting more and more upset. The chaos as to where to queue, where to vote continues. Voters are now talking to each other because there are no INEC officials out there offering proper solutions. Finally, a National Youth Service Corps member comes out to clarify to voters exactly where they should be queuing to vote. For those who may not be aware, the National Youth Service Corps is a sort of military service in Nigeria. Not so military as in certain countries, but a little bit of the military service where every university graduate offers services to society for a period of 1 year lower than the market price. The time now is about 8:45 a.m. in the morning. Some of the voters have been queuing up since 5, 6 in the morning. And so you can imagine the tempers are frayed and people are a little bit irate. The INEC officials on ground at the moment are simply too few to organize and put solutions in place with the crowd that's gathered so far. Now the first voter comes forward, but yet another issue. It turns out that his voting card is being accepted by the card reader, but his name is not on the list. His name is not on the register, but the card reader says he's meant to be voting. The presiding officer and other election agents are asking the gentleman to step aside and go and check online to verify exactly where his polling station is meant to be in order to speed up the voting process. Finally, the first person to actually cast his vote out of that queue. Looks like the dust got to the man.
Wait, see, this is AN. This is woman. Wait, this is woman.
Excuse me. And so you were told the voting would start at what time?
By 8 a.m.
And it didn't start till about 9 o'clock.
Yeah, well, by 8:30 we were already on the line.
Okay.
And they were getting prepared. I think what delayed was the observers that had to verify the process and the agents.
Okay, lovely. And are you happy with the things that are going reasonably all right today?
The process was okay.
Wonderful,
Okay.
wonderful. So you're looking forward to who winning? All right, that was
The guy
a
who
trick
has
question.
the majority.
Okay,
All
thank
right,
you
then.
so much for
Thank
talking
you.
to us. All right, bye. It's now about 9:15 in the morning and 2 people have voted out of the queue. It looks like the lady has a similar problem as the gentleman earlier. It has something to do with a discrepancy with the list. She doesn't seem to appear on the register.
are going alphabetically, and my name starts with AM, and it's supposed to be here. The card reader has confirmed that it's authentic. They've cleared me. Then my name is not on the list. So they are trying to see wherever my name is. I wonder where else it will be, because it's supposed to be alphabetically. That's where it's supposed to be. So I'm just waiting. My name must be found. They have to find my name because I must vote. I want to vote.
The issue is sorted out, and the lady is able to vote.
I have a complaint, and I have tried to make other people that are agents, even the agents of the parties,
Yes.
to also acknowledge the complaint.
Okay.
I noticed here when I came that we have 3 boxes there, of which we have a representative, house of representative, we have the senatorial house, and we have the presidential one. But I noticed that the presidential one, the box is written with marker. You understand? The other ones has their own sticker, original INEC sticker. If you take a look there, you can see it. It's not only on a one place. You have it there, you have it there, you have it there also. See. So
The voter who raised the issue is absolutely right. The City Talk team already noticed this, but wondered whether the voters had already actually made a complaint regarding this. The ballot boxes clearly identify those for the House of Representatives and the Senate. But the presidential one either doesn't have a label at all or has a label handwritten with a marker.
all the 3 there. Yes. No matter what we've got now.
This morning. We've been here since 6 o'clock. Some of them have been here since 5 a.m. And up till now, we've not even done the accreditation, not talk of voting. And they're just busy there writing and writing. I don't know what's going on. And they're not even talking to us. That's the point. They're not talking to us. So I don't really know what the problem is.
I'm sorry, what's your name, sir?
My name is Ovo Otaribo.
Thank you so much for talking to us today. And based on what you've seen so far, do you think things are going according to schedule, according to plan?
In this polling unit, things are going according to plan. Just that sometimes you have a little glitch in terms of categorizing voters to where they should actually stand to cast their vote. Apart from that, everything's going according to plan. And we hope it remains the same. Domestic observer Nigerians who are accredited by the Independent National Election Commission to observe the electoral process, to be sure that the process is free and fair. All right. So now at this moment, the INEC officials came here right on time, and all materials needed for the electoral process came on time. We've done the fact checking to be sure that the total number of people registered to vote in this polling unit is the same with the materials to be distributed here. So we've done all those checks, and we also made sure to check that security personnel are on ground as well. So part of the role of an observer to be sure that observe that the party agents are here too, so that parties do not lay claim to things that are not true. So this is part of the role of...
Some of the sanitation issues plaguing Nigeria continue. Open defecation remains a huge problem in Nigeria, and in a place like this, where there is no allocated public toilet for use by those who are here, means that if somebody needs to use the toilet, they have no choice but to go to the back of the school. As the people continue to queue in the sun whilst waiting to cast their votes in this very important 2019 election in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, more security personnel arrive on ground as well as some diplomatic vehicles. We were informed that the former president of Tanzania was one of the observers at this election.
Sure that the right is
I want to think they are here because we've been asking for the INEC rep for this particular asking the same question
anyway, because we've not found any.
The INEC officials, you told me they were here one time, but where are they? They're not here.
I don't cite anybody here.
In any polling unit, as far as people are concerned, these are the INEC officials for now. You have INEC monitors that will come later on.
Yes.
But these are the INEC officials for now. If you look at their shirt, you see SPO, assistant polling officer. You have the polling officer and all that. So they represent INEC here. They are the only INEC people know. So unless INEC monitors come externally, it's fine. But otherwise, if you go over there, you see presiding officer. He's the number one INEC.
When the domestic observer refers to those who represent INEC, he's actually referring to the youth coppers who I previously talked about, who were recruited by INEC to help with the elections today. Unfortunately, a lot of them do not have enough experience to handle some of the issues that are coming their way.
My name, but in the manual my name is not there. So how do I vote?
So I can't vote. They said they didn't find my name in the manual.
This something we are complaining.
So I want to vote. I want to vote.
I want to vote. I want to vote.
Yet another issue with the registration card.
INEC is prepared 100%, and this is where we are right now. But tired. You leave coppers here, see the coppers, they don't know anything that they are doing here. They don't know anything. Sluggish coppers, like they are not trained. No INEC officials to supervise them, nothing. And you're telling us that you're prepared. But we're ready to vote. We vote because we want change.
They want to frustrate us, but they know it's not going to work for them. Wait here, that's
And another. And more. There is a palpable feeling of frustration amongst the voters. The City Talk team encountered a lot of people who feel that this is a deliberate effort to frustrate the voters and make them not vote today. We hear this a lot, and a lot of the people that the City Talk team spoke to expressed this feeling.
We stop everything here. What do you mean by why? After waiting here for 4 years, it's not fair now. Is it fair?
Tired, overwhelmed, exhausted, frustrated, and totally incapable of solving the problem, the assistant presiding officer decides to call her boss.
Yes.
My number didn't even show as at the registration there, so I've given them my card because I went there for a whole day to go and register. So now coming here now, they could not. My name did not appear in the in the first stage. So I think they will get it because they have other registered. I think they have been doing well. So I'm here waiting for the outcome of it.
All right then. Yet another voter confronts an election official with her phone as proof that the online verification system has confirmed that her voting polling station is where she is, therefore her name should be on the register.
We have a marker on the presidential candidate. Why we have a marker instead of a yeah, because this is
Another voter finally decided to bring the issue of the presidential ballot box to the open.
And that's the main thing we're here. Why do they have a residential because it's very tough to take on this figure than this one-on-one.
We've addressed that.
You should capture this.
There were more and even more voters with the same issue, the card reader recognizing their card, but their names not being on the register. Once again, the assistant presiding officer calls her boss in order to find out exactly what to do regarding the issue of people's registration cards being recognized by the card reader, but their names not being on the list.
Have you seen anyone that's black and white? I'm calling you. Come and speak with Hello, mommy. Hello, mama. Ma, please, we need your attention at this Gariki Primary School. Jabi Saki Primary School. Man, they can't read their card, but they can't vote because their name are not on the register.
Now which area?
Which secondary school? 14A is that where, ma? 14A is that where?
Madam,
The voters, some of whom have been queuing up since 5-6 in the morning today. Now it's about 10:15 in the morning, and they're being asked to go to another location because they think, the INEC officials think, that they might be able to find their names on the list, but there is no guarantee. Do bear in mind that the people being sent over to the other location have no written document, there is no official going with them, so they're probably going to get there and get to the back of the queue after having waited for hours at this location. The City Talk team caught sight of the country director of Water Aid, Dr. Chichi, and we're quite excited, hoping she'll be willing to say a word or two to us. Luckily for her, not only was her card read by the card reader, her name was also on the list, and so she was able to.
Oh, thank you so much for agreeing to talk to the City Talk team. So, what was your experience today? We see that you've finally been able to vote. What time did you get here this morning?
8 o'clock.
And what was the experience from that time?
Well, it had actually been quite orderly, quite smooth. At the beginning, it was a little difficult trying to identify where one should, what queue to stand in. But that was quickly resolved, and it was now possible to vote. But the problem is that it is so slow. It's 10:15 now, so it's been 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 15 minutes from the time I arrived to the time I voted. But hey, I'm really excited that I have voted. I've done my bit, and hopefully INEC will do its bit as well.
Oh, thank you so much. So, would you share with us who you think will be winning the presidential elections, for instance?
No, I don't think that's part of the voting rules.
Thank you so much for your time. So what have they told you? What have they told you?
They are telling you that you should go to the next voting polling. So we are going there right now. But we need somebody to assist us because we go there, we are going to start at fresh. And nobody can hear us.
It's gone past 6 p.m. in the evening, going towards 7 p.m. And the City Talk team decided to come along to see how the counting is done. The people you see seated here include the domestic observers, party representatives, and INEC officials as well, who are actually doing the counting. The officials are counting along with those who are seated. So any stakeholder, anybody who may have any interest in wanting to see the counting being done would be welcome to come join in. In light of the diverse reports received by the City Talk team from across Nigeria regarding the elections that took place today, the 23rd of February 2019, we can safely say that the elections we observed in Jabi, in the Federal Capital Territory of Abuja, Nigeria, went relatively peacefully. However, we are unable to state categorically from what we observed that the elections were fair. Once again, it's City Talk TV for City Talk Blog.